So, in the days since I watched Avengers Endgame, I've had a chance to ponder what lies ahead for the MCU, the characters that are left, the storylines that Marvel wants to pursue, and the overall creative direction the whole franchise is heading. And after careful reflection, I've come to the conclusion that I don't give a shit. I feel like I'm kind of done with the MCU now, and I'm ready to move on to other stuff. Not that I hate it now, or I'm gonna boycott future movies or anything dumb like that, but more that I just feel burned out with it. I suppose this was always gonna happen sooner or later. Nothing lasts forever, and as much as you might enjoy something for a while, eventually you're gonna get to the point where you just say, yeah, I've had enough of this now. And that's where I'm at with this. I think it's happening for a number of different reasons, and because I'm kind of a self-indulgent asshole who likes to rant about stuff on YouTube, I'm going to do my best to outline them for you here. The first and most obvious reason is that it feels like the biggest and best story has already been told. I'm not going to go into spoilers for Endgame, but it's fair to say that even if the movie had its issues, it was a decent send-off for some of our favourite characters, and a passing of the torch to the next generation of heroes. It was a movie that had been building up since the earliest days of the MCU. Every movie in the series felt like another stepping stone on the path to this final epic confrontation that was going to settle everything. And now it has, and it feels like we're never going to see that kind of build-up, that kind of epic storytelling spread across more than a decade of movies ever again. The MCU feels like a game in free play mode after completing the main storyline, and as much as that might seem like a fun concept for about 5 minutes, once you realise there's nothing left to work towards, it loses its appeal pretty quickly, and then it's straight to CEX to trade it in for a new game. The second reason is because I can see pretty clearly the direction the MCU is heading in the real world, and to be honest, it doesn't look good. People like Brie Larson and even Kevin Feige have made no secret of the fact that diversity, representation and social justice is going to be their big drive going forward. Because, outdated concepts like great storytelling and interesting characters have just been dragging the MCU down all these years, and they need to be abandoned now in favour of the endless pursuit of social justice. Because if there's one thing I want from my escapist superhero fantasy movies, it's to be constantly bombarded with the same relentless political propaganda that we have to put up with in every other form of entertainment. Just remember, guys, you can never escape it now, no matter where you go. There's literally nowhere that hasn't been infiltrated by this stuff. So now that most of our favourite characters have bowed out in one way or another, we can expect them to make way for an ever more diverse cast of heroes, chosen based on their skin colour, gender and sexual orientation. Because obviously those are what really matter about a person, not their personality or their life experience or their skills and abilities, just arbitrary characteristics they were born with. And of course the MCU is going to be headed up by an invincible, flawless, unstoppable goddess that can do anything, beat anyone with ease, and has no weaknesses, fears, vulnerabilities or even personality. A character who effectively makes everyone else redundant because she can already do anything she needs to. Who wouldn't be excited by a character like that? I mean, the storytelling possibilities are endless. And to top it all off, she's played by an arrogant, preachy, self-aggrandizing, divisive, blank-faced moron who has nothing even resembling human charisma. A woman who cares about nobody and nothing except pushing her personal politics into everything she does, while congratulating herself on her own magnificence every step of the way. Even Jeremy Renner couldn't hide his excitement at working with her.
Look at it with responsibility. I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that and allowing myself to learn from those mistakes.
It was exciting to learn that there are plans for an all-female Avengers movie already, which totally won't exclude half of the fan base, not to mention a push for more LGBT representation. As a little thought experiment, take a moment to ponder what the reaction would be online if they announced an all-male Avengers movie. Go ahead, I'll wait. The point here is that social justice and identity politics has been starting to creep into the MCU movies over the past couple of years, and everyone's too afraid to talk about it. Black Panther was the most insanely overhyped movie in history, but no mainstream critic in his right mind would dare to criticise it for fear of being called racist. And while Captain Marvel was less of a disaster than I expected, in terms of storytelling and character development, it sat comfortably in the lowest tier of Marvel movies. And this is the character that's supposed to be leading the MCU into Phase 4, everyone. Just take a moment to think about that. You know, it's a pretty damning indictment of the state of our media that one of my biggest emotions as I came out of Endgame was gratitude. I was grateful that they managed to get this final movie over the line without identity politics tarnishing it too badly. I was grateful that my favourite heroes for the past 10 years were allowed to bow out with dignity and respect. And I was grateful that idiots like Brie Larson weren't allowed to steal their thunder. It felt like the last defiant stand of quality storytelling in the face of social justice, and I was grateful the movie did it. The third reason is a simpler, but probably a more fundamental one. I'm feeling the Marvel fatigue at last. I've said before that the Phase 3 movies have started to waver in terms of quality. They still adhere to the winning formula, except it's not quite winning as much as it used to for me. But I was always drawn back, because each movie held some tantalising clue about the bigger picture. Each story had a little hint of what was coming next. But now that's gone, and it seems like there's less reason to keep coming back, because we're not really building towards anything now. And after 20 odd movies, I'm just feeling kinda burned out with superhero flicks. So what does this mean for the future of the MCU? Well, I'm sure Marvel aren't gonna lose any sleep over the complaints of a small-time YouTuber like me, and I doubt the MCU is ever gonna self-destruct in spectacular fashion like Star Wars has. But I suspect I'm not the only person who feels this way, so I'd expect a slow decline in interest in box office takings in the years ahead. I'm sure they'll still have big wins from time to time, and I can't imagine any MCU movie flopping outright, but I think Endgame probably represents the high watermark of the series. It made over $1 billion in its opening weekend, and it's on track to dethrone Avatar as the most successful movie in history. I can't imagine how they could equal the level of excitement and anticipation this movie had. And with their new roster of actors, well, somehow I can't see Brie Larson putting in 10 years of hard work into this franchise the way guys like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth have. So that's where I'm at with the MCU. I feel like we're parting ways now. It's not an acrimonious split, and I'll always be grateful for the 10 years of entertainment and adventures this series has given me, but I feel like it might be a good time to move on to other things now. Leave with good memories instead of watching the whole thing slowly change into something I just don't enjoy anymore. And really, that's all I have for today. Go away now.